What's up, you guys? As you can see here by the title and right in front of your faces, we're going to do the draft board top 10. We're going to go 10 to 1, so I don't spoil number 1 for you. Um, NBA Finals, Dallas got the win the other day, or yesterday, so I know they're going to try and be the first in history to come back from 3-0. I don't see it happening. That's why I'm kind of moving on to my draft board. Probably going to get the top 30 out, I'd say, with the draft really coming around the corner. I think the 25th, so about 10 days until then. So without further ado, let's get right at number 10. And at number 10, I have Donovan Clingan, the Husky. Obviously, probably the more pure center prospect in this class. I think the other one would probably be Zaccharie, which honestly I almost put him here at 10. But Clingan, he's young, provides excellent rim protection. He's honestly a decent mover for his size. He's a vertical threat, physical rebounder on the inside, and he's still got high upside. So with him, the main thing is I think, can he eventually become a spacer of the floor? At his size, I don't think he necessarily needs to, because he's that good. He's that good on the defensive end. He plays physical. He does a good job of just keeping his hands straight up, walling up, and using his size to his advantage. But he's not the best free throw shooter. I didn't think he finished very well in March Madness. A lot of his points were easy dunks off of lobs or just wide open kind of gimmies. I think he can work on his feet for sure. His left hand's not great, as I mentioned in the improvement areas, but I think overall, really, he should just be working on getting more mobile offensively. Whether that be his hips, his feet, and just make it look like he's getting more athletic. I'd say is the main thing, and just get more fluidity to his game. And then the touch around the rim, I saw it multiple times against Purdue. It wasn't great. A lot of them were just clanks off the side of the rim, or just hit straight backboard. But obviously he was dealing with Zach Edey. He's a mountain of a man. I'd like to see how Klingan matches up with the guys in the NBA. I think he's going to be fine, at least on the defensive end. And then as he grows, he's only 20 years old, like I mentioned, I think he'll be fine. So Donovan Clingan there at 10. Excuse me. At 9, we have Robert Dillingham. I'm a little bit lower, only due to the size and then the defensive questions. I don't think he's going to be a plus on that end ever in his career. But another thing with him, the decision making can get a little bit out of hand, especially out of whether it's just a one-on-one shot creation, which he has. It's electric. Whenever anybody watches him, he can pretty much get his own whenever he wants to. But there are times where he can get a little bit too one-on-one, and not, I wouldn't say passive, but a little bit over-aggressive, where I think he can play a little bit more off the ball, coming off screens, handoffs, and you saw that with Kentucky. So I think more of that, and then the one-on-one stuff will open up for him. But obviously, he's a good passer. He's athletic. He has the ability to heat up. He came off the bench for Kentucky with Reed Sheppard, and they were really, really dynamic as a backcourt. So the talent is unquestionable there. It's there. He's a great offensive player and probably the best shot creator in the class for himself. But the size concerns are the only thing with me. That's why he's lower for me in the consensus. But still, I think he can definitely carve out a role as a backup, at least as a microwave scorer. My comp for him was Lou Williams. I forgot to mention the one with Walker Kessler, but it was Donovan Clingan, but it was Walker Kessler. I think just the way that they protect the rim and rebound the ball and just play with their size, it's pretty similar. Then of course Lou Williams would be the comp for Rob Dillingham for me. I think that one makes a lot more sense, just the microwave scoring and the ability to possibly become a 3-level scorer. And I could see him carving out a long career just because of that. So Rob Dillingham at 9. At 8, I have Stephon Castle, kind of the glue guy for UConn. He was really a huge part of their success in their championship run. He was able to guard the opposite team's best player, or at least the best guard and wing sometimes. He can probably guard 1 through 3, maybe even 4 with his strength. He's a good cutter. He's a good slasher. I think the IQ part has really stepped up his game, and I think that's really playing with UConn and Dan Hurley. That's really opened up, or at least showcased his ability to at least be a connective piece. And eventually, I think he can become a bit of a better shooter. I don't know if my face is covering the improvement areas here, but it's that says he wants to only play point guard from what I've read. I don't see him as that. I thought he did really well, like I mentioned, in the kind of combo wing guard role, and he did a really good job at that. So I think any team really could use him. I could see the Spurs using him as that, or if he really thinks that he can be a true lead guard, why not take a chance on that? But he showed the ability to be a good passer. He made good reads in transition, really good in transition as well. Uses athleticism to his advantage. Drew guys in, kicked it out, whatever it was. But the shooting is the question mark right now. It got a little bit better as the season went on. The mechanics aren't horrible, but I did mention that. I think his feet can get better, and then kind of the hand placement is just a little bit inconsistent. I think that's what the main thing is with him. But as he grows, he's only 19. I can see him being just a good player. And then the creation part, I don't see him being a really true scorer, which honestly is fine. A lot of teams I don't think are going to need him for that. But still, I would like to see him at least try to add to that. My comparison for him is Anthony Black. Both are smooth, high IQ players, good defenders, and hopefully Anthony Black gets some time next year and continues to improve that jumper. So Stephon Castle at 8. At 7, Ron Holland. He's one of the more polarizing guys this year. A lot of people have him as high as 1. A lot of people have him as low as 12 and 13. I kind of found a middle ground with him at 7, kind of just placed him there. But the ceiling is undeniable. Super high ceiling, plays with intensity on defense, can really guard. He's athletic, and he's shown some 3-level scoring flashes with step back threes, twos, and then, of course, getting to the rim and using some creativity there. He's good in transition. Just the competitiveness is what stands out with him. Obviously, the G League Ignite did not have a great year at all, but he was kind of hurt for a little bit. But I think Holland can eventually, not even eventually, but at least from day one, the defensive ability and the physicality that he plays with, I think will translate fine in the NBA. So, and plus he's only 18 years old. So the ceiling is really, really, really high for him. Improvement-wise, I think the shooting is definitely inconsistent right now. Experience is going to come, but I just put that as an area of improvement due to his age. But as he continues to play with the physicality, the shooting-wise, I could see at least in year 2 or year 3, he definitely can be a contributor for a team. The decision-making can get a little out of whack sometimes. I think the shot taking can outweighs the shot making at this point in his career. But I think as he grows, I think he'll be able to balance that. And the main question is, can he put it all together? That's what the last part says. I know you guys can't see it, but will he be able to put it all together? Will he be able to get the shot going, at least in the catch and shoot thing, to make it respectable, or a lot more respectable? Because that would just open up way more for him. Open up driving lanes off of bad closeouts, just running the floor in general. And then, of course, he's shown some ability to really get his own. So it's just the main question with him is, can he put it all together? I think 7's a good spot for him just based off the ceiling alone. And I see a bright future for him. As long as he's with the right squad, I think he'll do well. My comparison for him was Andrew Wiggins. I think that's pretty fair with the role that Wiggins has been playing now, kind of an extra, tertiary scorer. I guess a third, fourth option, I guess. But that defends, plays with intensity, super athletic, of course, and then has shown the flashes of really scoring the ball and heating up. So I think that's a fair comp for him, and definitely somebody to continue to watch for him, I'd say. At 6, I'm much higher on him than a lot of people, I think, but Dalton Knecht, excellent player. Loved watching him during the season, and March Madness, lights out shooter with a deep range, really good off the ball. He's super athletic if you guys have watched him, and of course just the microwave ability, like Vinny Johnson, to really heat up and just score in bunches. He showed it with Tennessee. He showed it at every level that he's played at. I think it was Northern Colorado, then he transferred, I think he transferred there from a JUCO, and he's gotten continually better every single year. So I'm excited to see which team lands him. I think he would really help a contending team right now, or even a team like the Spurs, who are honestly, they could be poised for a play-in jump at least, just with Wembanyama in his second year, and then possibly adding guys, of course, through the draft. But obviously, Knecht has the scoring ability, the shooting ability, the athleticism. Improvement-wise, defensively, he's not consistent. He has the tools to be a good defender. I would just like to see it just really come out of him and play with that intensity and use his tools to his advantage. He's super athletic. He's got a pretty good wingspan, and he's got pretty good foot speed. I would just like to see him use it better and really have a commitment on that end. I think the ceiling could be limited due to his age. He's 23. But you never know. I think I'm trying to think of Jaime Jaquez, of course, was one of the guys that a lot of people were concerned with his ceiling last year, and then he continued, and then he kind of fell to that mid round, which was kind of where he was projected. But he's shown that he has grown, and he's shown that he's a good player, and he's contributed for Miami on a playoff team. So I think Knecht could have that type of impact for a squad. I have questions about the scoring arsenal. He showed pretty good creation ability in college. I would like to see how that holds up against NBA athletes and guys that slide their feet better and play more disciplined. But the off the ball scoring, the way he elevates over guys just to get his shot off, and he's got a quick release from deep range. So I don't think he's gonna have a super bad problem with just the overall scoring. But I would like to just see if he can create some separation at the next level, which that leads into the ball handling, kind of the playmaking. When he does get downhill, it's kind of more he's looking for his own. I'd like to see him collapse a few guys and then kick it out. I would like to see that in summer league, especially, and just the IQ portion. As he continues to play in the NBA, though, I think it's going to grow. So, Knecht, obviously an excellent player. My comp for him is a Wally Szczerbiak, and then a bouncy Bogdanovic from Atlanta. Just a smooth game, both of them. Szczerbiak, especially with his off-the-ball scoring, but Bogdan, the way they move pretty similar. And then, of course, Knecht being definitely more athletic than Bogdanovic right now. But yeah, Knecht at 6, I'm definitely high on him. I think he's going to contribute from day one for sure. At 5, sorry about the change of design here, but I have Reed Sheppard. He's grown on me in the past couple of weeks. Obviously an excellent floor spacer. Shot like 52% from 3 this year, which is elite. He's got a really high IQ, passing feel, and then of course the stocks. I mean, he was a steals and blocks machine off the bench for him, and he just created plays defensively. It's kind of weird that I have that, but I also have defensive questions on his improvement areas / weaknesses. So the thing with that, I think on the perimeter he could end up, definitely on the perimeter I could see him getting torched from early on, but he competes on the end. So I'm not entirely worried about it. I'm just more like 60-40 and leaning of like I think he'll be fine. I think he has the same wingspan as his height, so obviously that doesn't help him a bunch. But as long as he's committed on that end, he's playing hard, I think he'll be fine. A lot of his scoring is out of obviously transition, catch and shoot, and a lot of it's out of the pick and roll, dribble handoffs, and off the ball screens, which I would still like to see more. But a lot of it is with a bunch of screens, which is fine. I mean, he wasn't asked to be a true creator, I would say, at Kentucky, but I'd like to see him at least in the in-between game, the float game, mid-range pull-up out of handoffs, pick and rolls at the wing, at the top, or above the break, wherever. I'd like to see him add that more because I think as the big guys start playing or getting up or playing drop coverage, now he has to start to take over on that portion of his game. He needs to start pulling up for the mid-range, get the float game in there. I saw it a few times. I forget against who. It was probably against Oakland a little bit, and of course they lost in that first round. But regardless, I think Sheppard's going to be a good player. He can go as high as 3 to Houston, I think, and that would honestly boost their backcourt just with IQ shooting and just an instant impact, I'd say. My comp for him was DiVincenzo and TJ McConnell. Just kind of the way that they move, especially with McConnell, they kind of move similar. Not because they're white, but I'd still say at least the defensive side, the way that they compete, the way that they can pass, the way that they really read the game. I think their IQ is both super high, and then of course DiVincenzo being just a sniper this year, really taking over when Randall was out, or not really taking over, but taking a leap, taking a step in his role. So I think those are two pretty good fair comparisons for them. Sheppard, I think, will carve himself out a nice long career. At 4, I have Nikola Topic. I had him at 2 earlier. I think the injury. I don't view the injury being that concerning, but I moved him down 2 spots because that seems, I guess, fair. Um, with Topic, he's a 6'7" point guard, about 200 pounds, only 18. He's super young, so please remember that for the injury concerns, because he's 18 years old. It's a partially torn ACL. I think he's going to be fine. Just give him some time, give him some rehab, and he'll be an excellent player, I think. As you can see in his strengths, passing, playmaking, and rim pressure, that is a very good combination to have at such a young age. He is a walking paint touch. People have concerns about the competition, but regardless, out of the pick and roll, he is able to manipulate the big, get around them, create the pressure that he can, and then still hit skip passes, hit hammer passes to the corner, and just hit the open guy just about every single time. He does a really good job of reading out of the pick and roll, hitting the skip passes, and even when the guys blitz him on the screens, just to get it out of his hands early, he's able to make the correct read to the short roll, and the big man's able to pass out of it, and then it just turns into perfect basketball. And just passing, cutting, penetrate, pass, open shots. So it's perfect. Another thing with him is IQ's high. I think that kind of goes to say with the playmaking ability, but he knows where the ball should be. And then the finishing, the rim pressure. He's creative around the rim. He's not a super physical finisher, but he's got some finesse, little Euro steps, little inside hand on the reverse layups, especially with his right hand. Didn't see a bunch of left hand finishes, but I'm sure he has that. Has good touch around the rim, and then of course the shooting upside. I think it's there. A lot of his threes came off of between the leg hangs, kind of little hesitations, and then just pulling it when they back up because they're scared of the drive. And once the three ball gets better, it's going to be tough to guard. He's a great free throw shooter. I think he shot 86 or 87% this year, so that is usually a very good indicator of a possible, or not even possible, but definitely a chance to be a good shooter in the long run. Plus, he's only 18, so give him some time. Proven areas outside of the injuries, like I mentioned, athleticism is not really there. So on defense, he's not the greatest on the perimeter. He tried. I think he competes, but his foot speed's not great. He tends to get beat inside a little bit too much, opens his hips a lot. So that'll be a question mark early on. But as long as he competes, I think later on he could end up being at least a decent team defender. Spot up shooting, that's the other thing. I don't think you can see it, but not the best spot up shooter. It's more of his threes, like I said, were off the dribble. I'd like to see him be ready on the catch a lot more. And then his mechanics aren't bad, so I think it's going to be fine shooting wise. You just got to give him time. And then of course the last things that says there is the in between game. That kind of has to do with Reed Sheppard as well. I'd like to see the mid range kind of pop up a little bit more, especially in the pull up. I think he definitely has the ability. He's shown flashes of it. The little spin jumpers where he goes slow and then he's able to just raise up with his size over the shorter guards. Then the float game should be there too. It needs to continue to grow. A lot of teams like to play drop coverage. They're going to play it with him, so hopefully he needs to start to dominate that so that they can start pressing up a little bit more. And But overall, Topic is probably one of my favorite players in the class. I think he has the upside to be the best player from this one. Um, but the injury concerns are there, I guess. But I wouldn't worry too much about it. But the shooting is the biggest swing factor. If he gets that going, I think everything else will be fine with him. So I'm excited to see where he lands. I'm sure I think he could fall a little bit just because of the concern with the injury, but Topic is somebody to buy stock on. I think he's going to be really good. At three is Matas Buzelis. Oh, my comparison for Topic was Goran Dragic. Both of them get downhill really well, and Dragic ended up developing into a good three shooter. So I think the timeline could work out with him as well. And they're both good passers. So Buzelis from the G League Ignite, 6'10", 200. He's an athletic, versatile forward. Showed some versatility, especially defensively, with the help side shot blocking. Showed some flashes of just really scoring at every single level, especially at the rim. He's a good lob threat. He plays with his teammates really well, I think. Not the quickest release, so I don't think the pull-up game is really there yet for him. He's kind of got a slower release, but it's still higher point, and so it's still like a high point release. So he definitely gets his shot off. It's borderline unblockable. He's shown some ability to hit catch and shoot threes. That's going to be the consistency issue. The consistency issue there is it's obvious. It's just need to see it get better. But he's only 19, so just got to believe in the work and just continue to put work in. Strength-wise, I thought I read something a couple months ago about him gaining some weight and getting stronger. So that's obviously a good sign. Experience, that's another one. G League, I think G League Ignite, I'm not super high on it, but this guy, probably one of the more higher touted guys from the Ignite, at least in my opinion, ever since Jalen Green. But he needs experience, so he needs NBA experience. It's going to need him. It's going to need time. He's going to need time to get better. But he's another one with probably the highest upside in the class because he has the possibility of being a three-level scorer while also showing some versatility defensively with his blocking ability and just to be able to moving his feet as well. So my comp for him is Franz Wagner. I don't think he's as good as a finisher around the rim, but just the way that they move and some moves that he was doing was just really similar when I watched him a few months ago. So it was kind of weird to see that. It was pretty similar. So hopefully he can continue to grow and maybe he'll be an all-star one day. So Buzelis at 3. At 2, Zaccharie Risacher. He's had a really good playoff run for his team. He's done excellent, honestly. He's 6'10", 195, and he's kind of the prototypical mold of a 3-and-D wing. And that size, that's really highly touted, especially at 6'10". So he's been an excellent spot-up shooter. He's shown defensive versatility. He really plays hard on that end. Probably one of the best perimeter defenders in the class, besides like a guy like Ryan Dunn from Virginia, who's excellent on that end. But does a good job. He can pretty much guard 1 through 3. I think a little bit of 4 too. But he's got good fluidity, pretty good IQ and the feel of the game, and he's shown some really good passing on in transition. And I think that's where he's going to really excel early on, just running the floor, spotting up for threes, and then of course driving off closeouts, using the athleticism that he does have, and then finishing at the rim. He's not the best, even though I just mentioned finishing, he's not the best at the rim finishing. He's definitely needs to add strength there so he can play through that. But once again, another super young guy in this class, 19 years old. He's going to grow, especially with the NBA training. As long as he puts the work in, I think he's going to be fine. Ball handling and shot creation kind of go hand in hand there. Even he said it. He knows he needs to work on his ball handle. Even at 6'10", that almost sounds crazy to think that a 6'10" guy needs to be working on his ball handle a lot more. But if you watch him play, you can see the flashes of it. He does hit a little variety of step back threes, off the dribble threes, even to the side. So if he continues to add a little mid range pull up, I think he could end up being maybe the best player in this class. But there's about 4 or 5 guys where I believe that they could end up being like that. That'd be Sarr, Risacher, Buzelis, maybe even Knecht at age 23. and then Ron Holland is another one. So Risacher just needs to put everything together and continue to get the experience. There was a little bit where he kind of just disappears on offense, and but defensively he's always there. So that's obviously a good thing. My comparison for him is Harrison Barnes, kind of one of the more um, common comparisons, but I think it's a good one. High point release, 3-and-D wing, good size, fluidity, and he's a good defender. So I think Risacher has a chance to definitely, if a team like Washington were to select him, that would help build an identity there. So I would like that. And at number one, Mr. Alex Sarr, 7'1", 220, upside, versatility, defensive presence, athleticism. It's all there. He's a good rim protector, moves really well out of the pick and roll coverage. He's a vertical threat, of course, on offense. Um, Showing some pretty decent passing out of the short roll, making good reads out of that. Um, but the upside's there, especially as a shooter. But that's obviously in the improvement area. Kind of has a slower release, but he's 7'1", not really blockable, I would say. But he brings outside of offense right now. He's going to bring stuff defensively, and he has good foot speed on the perimeter to actually stay with guards and at least force them into tough decisions or tough shots. So I like I love what he brings, even as just a floor player. Even at his floor, I think he'll be fine. The strength, rebounding, experience are all that kind of goes hand in hand. Strength and rebounding goes with just getting in the gym more and lifting weights, getting stronger. And then, of course, it has to do with experience by playing with those guys who have already been in the weight room for 6-7 years and really working their tails off. So as long as he continues to grow, gets the reps that he needs, and plays against guys at this level now, I think Sarr could end up being one of the elite. Could end up being an all defensive team type of player, maybe even a fringe all star, or even maybe even an all star. So I like Sarr at one. My comp for him is Evan Mobley. The way they move, the shots are kind of similar. Both have good movement skills, like I said, rim protection, of course, and just the overall ability and the upside on the offensive end is what I'm really buying into. So yeah, that is my board for 2024. At least 1 through 10, 11 through 20. I'll definitely be working on that, and I'm looking to get that out within the next couple of days. Um, Continue to watch the finals, of course. Not really rooting for anybody, but I think Boston has that in the bag. If you guys have any ideas of what other videos to do next, NFL stuff will probably be coming out soon, whether it's off-season grades, anything like that. Appreciate you guys tuning in. God bless as always. Jesus is King. You guys got to know that. Appreciate you guys tuning in, of course. See you guys in the next one.